Okay, welcome to the solution video for INF 164 Practical 2. So in this practical we're going to have to be practicing methods and changing forms again. So let's go ahead and begin. As you can see, I've already created my main menu form that was required over here. So now let's move on to adding additional forms to our project and then doing methods based on code given to us. Okay, so let's begin with adding the two forms. Again, to add a form, we go up to Project, Add Windows Form, we give it a name. In this case, it's going to be FRM Guessing Game. Okay, and then once you've given it a name, you say Add. It creates that additional form. I'm going to go ahead and add both forms at once. The second one is FRM Tic-Tac-Toe. Okay, add it. And from here, I'm just going to design the forms as they require. So a bunch of buttons on this one with some radio buttons and a group box, and list box over here, label button, numeric up down, and a group box and another label. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward the video while I quickly design the forms appropriately. Okay, so I think all my forms are correctly designed. I'm just going to go ahead and check the names have all been given to the various controls. Everything looks like it's named correctly. So now I guess we can go ahead and begin with the code. Let's start at the top. So in this practical, you have to write a program that contains three forms: a main menu, one that plays tic-tac-toe, and one that plays a guessing game with the computer. The first form looks as follows. Okay, so our first form does look like that. Secondly, next we have to go to the guessing game. Okay, so my guessing game form looks roughly the same as that. How this game works: these will input a number in the numeric up down. The computer will then guess random numbers. Each guess is input into the list box. Once the number is guessed correctly, the output label should change accordingly, and the list box should be emptied at the beginning of each round. The code for the guessing game is as follows. We need to rewrite the code such that a method is used to guess the number. Okay, is that it? Yeah, so that's it for the guessing game. So let's go ahead and save all of this, close that one, and yeah, we're going to need this one soon, so I'm going to leave that open. So first things first is we need to be able to get to the guessing game. So we do that from our main menu form 1 over here. To bring up a new form, we call it by the class name. So in this, it's FRM Guessing Game. We create an instance of that class. FRMGG is equal to new FRM Guessing Game. And then we show that instance of that class. So we go show dialog. And that's that code done. While I'm here, I'm just going to quickly go ahead and do the next two. So this is FRM Tic-Tac-Toe, FRM TTT is equal to a new FRM Tic-Tac-Toe, and over here we can say .show dialog again. And lastly, we need to just go ahead and say application.exit under the exit button. Okay, so that's this form done. Next we go on to the guessing game form, so this one over here. So essentially the user has to click on this button and input over here. First they have to input over here, then they click on this button, and then the computer must randomly guess numbers until it matches what the user has input. So I should have a label here. Yeah, okay, cool. Just making sure. So let's go to the guess button. So first things first, because I used that word random, we're going to need a random object. So we're going to call it R&D gen is equal to new random object. Cool. Then we're going to have to go ahead and make sure that we use a method. I believe we have to use a method is used to guess the number. So we're going to go ahead and create that method. So we're going to go public void. Actually, let's make it an int guess number. Let's just leave it a guess num. Okay, so at the end of this, we're going to return num. but we need to first create that. So int num, which is equal to 0, and then over here we can just go ahead and return num. In between here, we need to randomly generate a guess. So to do that, we're going to use our random gen, and we're going to assign it to num. So we're saying num is equal to our random gen dot next, and we need to specify the limits over here. So to make this more dynamic, what we can do is we can specify to the numeric up down guess number dot min value and the numeric up down dot max value. Therefore, no matter what we change it to over here, whatever the user can input over here will be between the min and the max value, and it will therefore be, the computer will guess a random number between that minimum and maximum value. We just need to go ahead and say convert.toInt, or how about this, let's change this up a little bit. Let's say that over here we need to require a min val and an int max val. And then when we create that random number, we use a min val comma max val. Okay, so what we've got now is we've created our method called guess number, which is an integer type method, so it returns number. In between here, we set number to be equal to a randomly generated number between min and max val. Min and max val are two arguments that are passed through when this method gets called. So if we go ahead here and say guess num, and we leave it empty, it's going to give us an error over here. We need to pass through two values as well. So this is where I'm going to go ahead and pass through my, well, first I need to go ahead and convert. So convert.toInt my nud dot minimum value. Cool. And also convert dot to the maximum value dot maximum. Okay, I know they've provided the code over here, but I'm just gonna type this out myself. So now we're calling this method, we're passing through our minimum and maximum value, and we then randomly generate a number, and it returns that number to us. So every time it guesses, or the computer guesses, every time it guesses, we need to add that guess to the list box, as well as check whether it matches the user's numbers. So we're going to have to do this a bunch of times. We're then going to say while loop. We're using a while loop here because we don't know how many times we're going to have to randomly generate until it reaches whatever the user has input over there. So we're going to say while guess, we're going to create a variable here called, let's say, int guess, which is equal to be 0. Over here we're going to say guess is, nope, not guess num, guess is equal to guess num, but I already have it with all the values here, so I'm just going to cut this out and paste it there. So we're going to say guess is equal to guess num over here, and then we're going to say while guess this one here is not equal to the user value. I'm going to create another variable here called user value, also set it to 0 initially, and then over here I'm going to set user value to equal my I'm going to have to convert first, so convert to int my nud dot value. Cool. While their guess is not equal to user value, we have to continue guessing. So we're going to go ahead and just continue guessing. Now every time we make a guess, we have to add that guess to the list box. So here's one guess, so I'm going to go ahead and go list box lbx.items .add and add our guess. But now we also need to do this every single time we guess again over here. So let's just check. We also need to have this line at the top here, user num -6, so what the user actually entered. So that must happen first, since we want it to be at the first line of the list box. If we did it down here, it's going to end up after all the numbers, so we're going to do it at the top here. And over here we're going to just say user number and say plus user value. We only assign user value here, so we need to just go ahead and do it under that line. Okay, next, if you take a look here, it's got a little blank space. To add a blank space, you simply add it to the list box again, but instead of actually adding a value, you just add an empty string like that. Okay, and then it guesses all the numbers, and at the end it outputs a message. So let's go ahead and output that message. So LBL output.text should be equal to something. It should be equal to it took. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and type that out quick. It took, let's do capital, it took plus, and then over here they say how many guesses it took. So do they have a guess counter? Yeah, they've got a guess counter. I'm gonna go ahead and do it a slightly different way. Guess counter is perfectly fine, but just because that's in the memo, you guys know how to do that. I'm gonna show you another way. We can go lbx in guesses.items.count, but now we need to remember that we added these two items that weren't guesses over here, so we need to say -2. And let's just put this all in brackets. Okay, continuing with our output sentence. What's next? It took X guesses to get, and then user number. X guesses to get user value. Okay. So this is looking good. It says here as well that the list box is emptied at the beginning of each round. So the beginning of each round would be over here, lbx dot clear, nope, items dot clear. There we go. What else? I think this may be it. I just need to go ahead and check one thing, that I'm not off by 1 with my max values. So if I input the max, because of the outer limit being excluded, I need to make sure that it will actually be able to guess it. So I'm going to guess like 1,000. It should change it to 100. And as you can see, the outer limit is excluded, so it's going to run infinitely. So what we need to do is we need to say max value +1. And then if I play the guessing game, let's go ahead and test it now. Now it actually comes to an end. It finally guesses 100 over here, and it tells us how many guesses it takes to get there. If we guess the value 0, and it looks like it's working. 15, let's just check that it counts the right number of times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yep. So that looks like it's working correctly. I could have used the code that was provided here. I did it a slightly different way, but essentially most of the code is going to be the same. And most importantly is I've used a method over here. As it says here, you need to rewrite the code such that a method is used to guess the number. So I've got my method called guessNumber. It returns an integer value and takes 2 parameters. The bottom of the guess and the top of the guess. So the lower limit and the upper limit of the guess. One thing I had to be careful of is my upper limit is exclusive, so I needed to add 1 just to make sure it could increase that top limit. And this is pretty much it. I haven't done any comments, but that should be fine for the solution video. Okay. So button 1 done. Let's go ahead and save all of this, close this one, and close this one. So from here we're going on to tic-tac-toe. We've already got the code to bring up the form, so let's just go to the form itself. One thing I need to check is if I disabled those two, which I didn't. Okay, so I'm gonna have to quickly go disable these two just so that the user can't select whose turn it is. This false. Okay, let's go ahead and see what's required here. Note, the radio buttons at the top of the form indicate which player's turn it is. They are disabled and changed after every turn. There we go, I just disabled them. The player that starts is decided randomly on the form load event. Let's go ahead and start with that. So again, got that word random, so creating my rndgen is equal to new random. So I'm gonna go ahead and just make a random number between 0 or 1 and 2, let's say. And if that number is 1, I'm gonna make it player's 1 turn. If that number is 2, I'm gonna make it player's 2 turn. So I think they tell us which methods we have to use. We have to use take turn, check draw, check win, check who won, disable all buttons, and reset game. Okay, so we don't have to use a method to do this according to what they've told us to use methods for. So I can just go ahead and do it straight under the form load event. I'm going to need an integer value, so int player turn, let's say, and make it equal to my rnd.next, a value between 1, including 1, and 3, so 1 and 2. And then over here I'm simply going to say if player turn is equal to 1, then I'm going to say rb, let's say x is player 1, rbx.checked is equal to true. There we go. Else, else I'm just gonna say rb0 dot checked is equal to true. Okay, so now it randomly creates a player's turn or sets a player's turn at the beginning of each form load event. So player x, let's go ahead and see if that ever changes. There we go. Okay, player 0. So it does randomly occur every time the form loads. Okay, what is next? Radio button on the top, blah 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 blah. Player that starts. Okay, I've done that. Once a player takes a turn, the form will change accordingly. Okay, so the button goes to red, and whoever's turn it was at the top, obviously it writes out that player's symbol. The button's back color changes to red until someone wins, then it changes to green. Okay, cool. And final notes here, message boxes should appear once a player wins or if a draw occurs. Okay, error and exception handling must be used. Once the game is over, it should be reset, and methods have to be used to implement this game. The following methods should be included. So I'm just going to go ahead and create these methods quickly. As such, you want the button click event handle to look like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and first make all the methods that they've given me over there. And let's see, what were the methods? Ooh, these should be public. We're always just going to make them public for now. Public, take turn, check draw, check win. Okay, so public void take turn. I'm just going to copy this for now. Copy 5. Let's see, what was the other ones? Check draw, check win. Check draw, check win. Okay, check who won. Check who won. There are other ways to do this, but we're just going to go ahead and use the method they've said. And then disable all buttons and reset game. Disable all buttons and reset game. Okay. So we'll worry about what goes in each method a bit later. Each button's click event handler for the game looks like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up all the click event handlers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Cool. Okay, so first thing that's gonna happen, I think, was it take turn, and which has one argument. I forgot to do that. Button btn. Take turn takes an argument of button btn. So you don't only have to have variables at the top, you can have objects as well or classes as well, which is an example of this. So this method now, when it gets called, requires not a variable to get passed through, but rather an object to get passed through. So our button click event handler looks like take turn, check draw, check win. Okay, so we got take turn, check draw, check win. Is that right? Take turn, check draw, check win. Depending on which button is clicked is which button we're going to pass through. So because this was BTN top left that got clicked, we're passing through BTN top left. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and paste all of this because it's all the same. I just need to remember to change each of these. Whoops, one more. Here we go. BTN bottom middle, bottom left, middle right, middle middle, middle left, top right, and top middle. Whoops, no, top middle, there we go. Okay, so now because I'm done with these button click event handlers, I've got all the code as they said. I'm going to go ahead and just minimize all that code just to save some space here, make it look a bit neater. Okay, let's go ahead and minimize all of these button click event handlers. Okay, looking good. So now we need to actually do the code that is required under each method. I'm going to go ahead and start with, let's say, disable all buttons, because that's, I have a feeling I know what it's going to do based on the name, and I'm thinking it's just disabling all the buttons. So we're going to go ahead and call all of our buttons BTN enabled and set them to false. Again, similar code. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nope, not 10, 9. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go bottom right, bottom middle, bottom left, middle right, middle middle, middle left, top right, top middle, and top left. Cool, so now when we call this disable all buttons, it's gonna disable all the buttons, kind of as it says. Okay, what is next? Shall we go ahead and just do what is first on the click event, which is to take a turn. This method over here. So when we take a turn, it told us something. What did it tell us? Once the user takes a turn, the form will change accordingly. Okay, so we need to change the button that was clicked to have the X or the O, depending on whose turn it is, and to change to red initially. So we're going to need to check whose turn it is. So we need to check if RB0.checked. Then we're going to go ahead and say btn.text is equal to a 0. And btn.backcolor is equal to a color.red. No, what we also need to do is just disable it so it can't be clicked again. .enabled is equal to false. Okay, else, whoops. Actually, what we can do is we can put this at the end, and over here we can say else. Slightly less code repetition. So what I've done here is I've checked if the RBO was checked, then I wrote an O, else if it wasn't, it means it must be X's turn, so I wrote X, and then I just changed it to red and disabled the button. What we need to do next then is just set the other radio button to be checked. Okay, so if btn0.checked, we need to set rbx.checked is equal to true. Else if X is checked, we need to set RBO to be checked, equal to true. So now we've got some code. Let's go ahead and test it. Tic-tac-toe, if we click, so 0 should start. That's a 0, then an X, then a 0, an X, 0, X, 0, X, 0. Okay, so it's taking turns properly. Let's just design this slightly better. Fonts, make it like, I don't know, 20 bold. Let's check how that looks. Yeah, it looks a bit more better. Okay, so let's go back here. Whoops, need to close this one. Yeah, okay, so it changes to green once the player wins, but we're only going to check if the player wins under the check win. So after their turn, after they've taken their turn, we need to go ahead and check for win or check for draw. So we're going to go ahead, which one should we check for first? Let's go ahead and check draw first. So check draw first. Okay, now we finished the take turn, now we're on to check draw. What we can do for checked draw is there's multiple ways we can go about it, because we know it's a draw if there's no more buttons to be clicked left, and we know there's no more buttons. We could either look at the text, we could look at whether they're enabled, or we could look at their back color. So I'm thinking I'm going to go with the disabled feature. So we're going to go btn started, let's say top left dot enabled is equal to false. Okay, and then now I'm just going to say and I'm going to check if all of them are disabled. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we can get rid of that. Okay, so top left, top middle, top right, whoops, nearly skipped one, middle right, middle left, and middle. Where are we there? Okay, then it's bottom left, whoops, bottom middle, and bottom right. Okay, so I just need to think about this for a second. If we take the turn, what happens if they win on the exact last click of the game? Then what's going to happen is it's going to check for a draw, and no buttons will be disabled, or all buttons will be disabled, but there will be a win because they won on the last turn. So what we need to do first actually is check for a win. I'll explain that again. So by checking for draw first, if by some chance the player won on the exact last turn, so on the 9th click or the 9th button getting clicked, then it would go ahead and check a draw. It would see all the buttons would be disabled, which they would be because all 9 buttons got clicked, and so it would say the game was drawn, and it wouldn't check for a win. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check for a win first, and then based on if nobody wins, let's say, we then go ahead and check, has somebody maybe drawn? And in that scenario, what would happen is because they won on the last turn, it would say this player has won, so it wouldn't even bother checking for a draw because somebody has won. But if on the last click it was a draw, it would check win, nobody will have won, so it would then go ahead and check draw and then say somebody has drawn. Okay, so we're gonna, basically all I've changed is that check win gets done first. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave check draw for now and just go check win. So to check for a win, we basically need to check if any variation of these are the same symbol. So all the horizontal, all the vertical, and the 2 diagonal. If those are all the same symbol, if any of those are all the same symbol, then somebody has won. So we're going to go ahead and say btn, let's start off with top left. Dot text is, how do we go about doing this? If we say btn text top left, we could say if it's equal to the, how about try this, btn top middle dot text and btn top left dot text is equal to btn top right dot text. So we're basically checking, do all 3 of them match? Okay, that's not going to work actually if we do it this way, because if at the moment all the texts match, so if I just click here once, it's going to check do these 3 match, and they do match, and it's going to say somebody wins. Okay, so we can't do that, so we're going to need to say if that text is equal to let's say an X, and the top left, top middle, sorry, is equal to an X, and where's the last one? Top right is equal to an X. Okay, so we check if top left, top middle, and top right are all equal to an X, then they've won through the top one. But at the same time, we need to check for 0 winning. Okay, so we need to check or if, nope, not that, if all three of those top one are 0, then we're going to go ahead and change all of the top one. Then we can just go ahead and do an else if, nope, like that. Okay, so else if. And now we're going to go ahead and check middle left, whoops, middle left, middle left. What is this one? Middle, middle, and middle right. Okay, so we got middle, middle, and middle right. Next off, we can check for the horizontal bottom lines, BL, BM, and BR. Okay, let's go ahead and copy paste that there, copy paste this here, and copy paste this here. Okay, so now we've checked for all the horizontals. Next we need to go ahead and check for verticals. So we're going to need to check all the left. So we got bottom left, middle left, and top left. Okay, we need to again copy all of up. That one's already there. So that's the left hand row. What did I do? No. Middle, middle, top, top. Okay, next we need to go ahead and check for the bottom middle, 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 and top middle. And let's just go ahead and copy, paste, and copy, paste. And then one more we need to do for the vertical, which is bottom right, middle right, and top right. Okay. A lot of if statements, but a lot of copying, so it's not too bad. Okay, and then we need to check for the two diagonals. So that would be top right, middle, middle, and bottom left. Bottom left. So that's like a forward slash right there. This one over here, and this one over here. And then we need to check for the last diagonal, which is top left, so like a backslash now, top left, and bottom right. Okay, and then middle, middle stays the same. Okay, so now we've got our if statements. If they do match, what we need to go ahead and do is change them to green, I believe. If a player wins, we need to change those buttons to green. So we say BTN. Just copy and paste again. BTN top left dot back color is equal to color dot green, they say. And then we need to change two more, so copy, and this, which is this one, and this one. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and just paste this everywhere. Over here, over here, over here. It's fine to copy and paste, just make sure that you check everything. You need to be testing afterwards, because if you don't test correctly, something may slip through, and that could cause lots of issues. Okay, so we've copied those ones across, copied these ones across. Okay, let's go ahead, copy these ones across. I see I have an issue there. What's that issue? BTN top, middle, middle, middle. Oh, but this one didn't get copied properly, so this one's, to check like very quickly, you can just check if that matches there, that matches there, just like by highlighting. It highlights it for you where they match. So it's a quick, easy way to test if they're correct. So these two didn't highlight, so I haven't copied these two yet. Top right, whoops, nope. Again, I can test. Yep, yep, and yep. Okay. Nope. So let's go ahead and copy these ones across. Let's go ahead and test again. Yep, yep, and yep. Okay. No. Let's go ahead and copy these ones. Yep, yep, yep. Copy these ones. Yep, 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 and yep, yep, and yep. Okay, so now it's going to change to green once a player actually wins. So if none of those occur, so if none of those events occur, it means nobody's won, so we can go ahead and check for a draw to happen. But we need to just check what else needs to happen once a player wins. Once a player wins, we need to make a message box up here. But that message box is going to state who wins, and at the moment we don't know who wins, because it could be X or it could be 0. So error handling, yeah, we get to that later once the game is over. Method should be used, following methods. Okay, so that's where we're going to go ahead and put check who won. So if this occurs, then that obviously means that somebody has won. So if somebody wins, we're going to first say disable all buttons, and then we're going to call check, no, not draw, who won. Who won. Okay. Let's copy these two, paste, 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 paste. Okay, so if somebody wins, we're going to go ahead and disable all the buttons and check who that person is that won. Okay. And if nobody wins, we're going to go ahead and check for a draw. We'll get to that stage later, but let's start off with, we've done disable all buttons, so we're going to go start it with check who won. So we're just going to go ahead and say, what are we going to do here? How do we do this? We need to check whether it's got an X or whether it's got a 0, but we need to know which button or like which diagonal or vertical or whatever it is on that they have won. So this could be a lot of if statements. Again. Okay, I'm thinking I could. Okay, it's fine, I'll do the if statement. Since they wanted this method, I'll just include this method. So we're going to go ahead and check each button. If the back color is green, which just got set to green on the previous one, we're going to check if the text is whatever, we're going to display that person won. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with btn top left dot back color is equal to a color dot green. I'm not sure which way it should have been done, but this way should work. So we're going to go ahead and check if the back color is green. We're going to call another if statement that says if that same button dot text is equal to a X, then we're going to display a message box dot show that says player X1. Else we're going to go ahead and display a similar message box, just that player 01. And then we need to do this for each and every other button. They can all be else ifs. Whoops, not else. Fine, I'll delete that and copy that across. Okay, but instead of top left, it will be top middle and top middle. And then I need to do that. Do I need to do that across every single one? Let's just think. What I'm going to do is, if I check this one, it covers that and that row. If I check this one, it covers that and that row. And if I check this one, okay, then we just need a diagonal, because this one covers that diagonal, this one covers that row, this one covers that row, so both horizontals, all three horizontals are covered, all three verticals are covered. We just need to go ahead and then check for this last diagonal, which isn't covered. So I'm going to go ahead and check top middle, middle left, and bottom right. Okay, so top middle, not top left, top middle. Then I said middle right was the other one. Oh no, middle left. Middle left, right, this one, and then bottom right. Okay, so that's bottom right, no, bottom right, and then bottom right. And then I need to perform one last check for, call it, I don't know, middle. I wonder if this can be done with only 3. Let's go ahead and take a look. If we do middle, it covers both diagonals, and that, and then I would just need this one and this one. Nope, this one and this one. Ah, yeah, there we go, that will work. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to check this one, and this one, which covers all 3 horizontals, all 3 verticals, that horizontal, and that horizontal. Yeah, that should work. Okay, so getting rid of one if statement here, or else if statement. We're going to check top left. I'm pretty sure that's what I originally had, but whatevs. Then we're going to check middle. Whoops, middle. I'll explain what I've done here now, and then bottom middle. Oh, not bottom middle, bottom left. Okay, does that look fine? Yeah, so what I've done here is I've checked specifically 3 cells. The top left, the middle, and the bottom right cell. Middle, and bottom right. Yeah, got it wrong again. Okay, bottom right. There we go. So now I'm checking these 3 cells. Why I only needed to check those 3 is because if this one is green, then it means that whoever is, they could have won through this horizontal, this vertical, or this diagonal. If this one was green, it could have won through this vertical, this horizontal, or this diagonal, or that diagonal, but that would have been picked up over here. And then lastly, if this one is green, it means this vertical or this horizontal. So basically any possible win scenario gets checked by checking those 3 cells. So what I'm doing here is I'm checking if that cell has a back color of green, and if that cell's text is an X, then we just say player X is 1. You don't need to know how they won, because that we checked over here. We checked which possible way they've won, horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. So over here we're just checking who won, kind of as the method states. So we're checking, yeah, top left, middle, yeah. So as far as I know, that should work. This is looking good. So if somebody has won, we need to disable all buttons. Yeah, that gets, okay, so now we're calling disable. We're not yet calling reset game. We'll worry about that later. This all works. Last thing we're doing over here is checking a draw, which we don't have any code for yet. So we need to go ahead and do that. So we check if all the buttons are disabled. We then just need to say a message box dot show game drawn. Whoops. Okay, so we got code under everything except the reset game. I'm not entirely sure when we need to reset the game, so I'll worry about that a bit later. Let's just go ahead and test if these check wins and all that work. Okay, so player 0 starts. Player X 0, X 0. I'm gonna try win on the exact last click. X. Whoops, I'm not gonna actually manage. Second last click is good enough. Okay, tells me where I won, who won, and okay, then it tells me game drawn. Okay, so I need to go ahead and fix that. Once it told me I had won, it then told me the game was drawn, and then told me I won again. I think I need to just confirm what that was. So let's go ahead and check why it's doing that. Check draw. Okay, so what would happen is I won on one of these methods. I then disabled all the buttons and I checked who won. It then called game drawn. Okay. In which case, are these all else ifs? Yes, they are. Okay, where does, after check who won, it just displayed the message box, which was done correctly. and disabled all buttons, it did that correctly. So let's go ahead and test that again just to see exactly what happens. So we go 0, 0. Okay, so player 0 wins. That's good so far. We're roughly here somewhere. And then it tells me game drawn, which is incorrect. And then it says player 0 won again. Okay, let's go ahead and check the buttons. Click event handler. Okay, here we go. So it's checking a draw first, which isn't gonna actually work. Like I explained earlier, if you win on the exact last click. I wonder if you can win. Okay, let's just go ahead and try win on the exact last click. So if we go here, need to try think of a way that's gonna allow me to win on the exact last click. Okay, here we go. It will say I've won. Then it's gonna say game drawn, I won, and that's incorrect. So that's why I'm gonna go ahead and take this method out. It's not gonna work that way. Even though it says here that you're supposed to, that's actually an error. Hopefully other people pick that up, else if not, yeah, I don't know. That's incorrect what they've got there. So we're gonna go ahead and try it again. Let's go ahead and see. This time who... Up, there we go, player X1 and game drawn is still showing all three up. That's because I only took it out of one button, click event handler. Whoops, gotta do it for all of these. Take that out, 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 take that out. Oh no, wait, you know what, we're gonna leave it like this. If they asked for it to be like that, we can leave it like that. What we're gonna do though is we're just gonna take it out of here. Okay, and then similarly, after we've taken a turn, we're not gonna call check win. Let's go ahead and see now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Player X1, and then it's done. Okay, let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Player X1. Cool. Okay, so I managed to do it with the methods that they required. Block there, go here, block here, win there. Okay. Coolio, so that looks like it's working. Let's go ahead and check here. We used the methods that they've said. We've got the same click event handler. I don't know when specifically the game needs to be reset, so I'm just gonna say the game needed to be reset. Is there a button for it? Maybe no button. Resets games, resets all the buttons. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do the code for it first. So to reset all the buttons, the first thing we need to do is re-enable all the buttons. So let's just go ahead and do copy this, paste that there, write true under 1, and set them all to true again. Then the next thing we need to do is set all their texts to be equal to, let's just copy this and paste it again. We need to set all their texts to be equal to text blank, so like nobody, no team rather. So we need to set it to be equal to that. And I thought, no, that's not actually it yet. Next thing we need to do is reset, oops, no, not text, all of their back colors to be equal to, I don't know what the system color is, so I'm just gonna make it a white. Let's say dot wheat. How about wheat, whatever that is. Okay. Oops. No, I copied it. No. Okay. Nearly. Oops. And I'm not really sure when that method's supposed to be called. You know what, let's just add a button here that says reset game and say that's when it's supposed to be called. Button down here, call it reset game. btn resets reset game. When it gets clicked, we're just going to call the reset game method. Let's see what that wheat color is. I don't know what that color actually is. Okay, it's whatever that is. And now we can play again. If we reset it changes everybody's stuff. Reset it again, and it keeps going. Cool. Game drawn. Oh yeah, so I think that's just about done. Let's go ahead and check. One thing that we need to do is error and exception handling, because I don't know of any specific errors that could occur for these methods. Like, I don't know of any existing errors. I can't do a specific catch, but what I can do is just a general exception, which is precisely what I'm going to do around everything. Just one big try, and then put a catch. And over here, just call it an exception. T, let's say, message box dot show, and then I'm just going to show t dot message. Like I said, I don't know what errors may occur for this, so I'm just going to do general try catches around everything, just in case. And also they've asked for it, so you know. T, cool, that's done. Let's have one around here, try all this, and catch it. Let's go and make it indented. Okay, so this one's done, those two are done, this one needs a try and a catch. Let's just indent it again, so that one's done, and disabling, like, pretty sure there's no errors that can occur for disabling buttons, but whatever. I'm going to just include a try catch just to make sure. Same with this method. Resetting is not going to cause an error, but I'm still going to put a try catch around it. And there we go. You won't get errors in calling a method usually, so I'm not going to do one for each of those, but yeah. And I believe that's it. Yeah. Let's just check once more that everything's working. Let's go to guess a number 55, let's say. Yep, that still looks good. And tic-tac-toe. Okay, and resetting still works. Yes, okay, and then exit button does work. So that's everything for Prac 2. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and I'll check you guys next time. Cheers.